long as it doesn't involve too much moving around, I'm good with it. But if we have to start running around the room,
if there's one thing
No, you don't have to move at all.
If there's one thing we can't stand here at a Dab It At podcast, it's exercise.
Yeah.
I'm out of breath just doing all that.
As long as it's extra fries instead of exercise, we're good.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't sprint at all. I went to get like a cigarette before this and accidentally bought. I don't smoke that much, but I accidentally bought unfiltered.
Oh,
like
that's
I hit
harsh.
2 times, and I was parking out there, and like
Dude's about to pass out.
Got that spinning head.
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't know how people smoke these regularly.
Disgusting. Welcome to a Dab It At podcast, episode 4. I'm your host, Moffat the Prophet.
And Sean Lean.
Yeah, we got it good that time around.
Yeah.
Nice. Here we have Mr. Lance Wooten, otherwise known as the Game Store Guy. Local legend. How we doing today, sir?
I'm doing all right. Not so much the game store guy anymore, because we had to close it down. But
forever.
Was that due to COVID?
COVID hurt me business-wise, but I would have made it through, except for, okay, when you're a game store, you have cycles, okay? Of course, holiday season, your sales are up. Okay, the lowest point of the year is typically around August because school's back in. Everybody's spending all that money on clothes and school supplies and stuff. Well, we rolled around August of this last year, and my lovely landlord came up and was like, "Hey,
nice guy.
I've been doing this with you for 7 years now. Da 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 da. Like to have you. You're a great guy, but I'm gonna raise your rent close to 50%."
Jesus.
It's fucking horrible, and that's legal. They can just do that.
The only restrictions to rent and things like that due to COVID were on residential. They didn't put anything on commercial pad sites.
Small businesses had almost zero protection in any sort of way.
Well, if you want to get into the conspiracy theory side of it, honestly, a lot of the engineering of this it was intentional to shut down the small businesses.
Yeah, I feel like if you're doing laws for COVID and regulations on stuff like that, commercial leasing is probably like the top of the list.
Well, and a lot of the commercial stuff that came for like bailout that helped out businesses all went to the bigger corporations. Again,
yeah,
small businesses are screwed.
Yeah, I've seen that where like some what's it called? Some there's like little teams of YouTubers, like they rent a house and they all make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I think there's a bunch of dudes that like make all their stuff from their houses completely separated, isolated, somehow did some kind of work, and when that stimulus went out and got like $3 million.
Wish somebody told me how to do that.
Right, yeah, exactly. They don't advertise that type of shit.
Yeah, these dudes that just make YouTube videos in their room probably don't ever have to actually socially interact or anything.
I don't know what with the YouTube, you can make quite a bit of money at that if you get a big enough following. I don't know what the taxes are like on that. I wonder if they have to pay tax on that or not.
I believe
probably there's probably a 1099 attached to that somewhere.
Yeah, I mean I've looked into it a little bit before I tried to get into it back in the day, but I never paid taxes back then, so I didn't even think about it.
As a small business owner, that's pretty much all you think about.
So you served the Alvin community as a game store owner for 7 years and COVID, and then your asshole rent owner, your asshole landlord crashed it down. That's so fucked up.
You want to know what the biggest fucked up part about that is? My landlord, it's a preacher.
Really?
Yep.
But isn't there like a little church or something next to you guys?
There was a church at the end, and that's part of the reasoning behind the whole jacking my rent up. We'll skip a bunch of stuff, but they had the church in one end, then they had the Farm Girls nonprofit there, and then of course you have the dog grooming shop. But the dog grooming shop donates all its proceeds to the church because it's owned by the church, so they get a nonprofit. I was the only for-profit in that strip center, so by getting rid of me and letting Farm Girls take my slot, now the entire strip center is nonprofit, which means they get out of property taxes.
That makes sense.
That's terrible. We're not gonna name names, but whoever you are, you know who you are, and if you see this, you're an asshole for that one.
I gotta say that's weird. A preacher like being a landlord, like dude, I guess that's not against the rules, obviously, but that just seems weird.
Well, okay, like I'm gonna.
Anything to get out of paying taxes, right?
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
But I'm gonna double stack on top of that because when I first moved into that slot, my rent was significantly lower. Okay, I had no complaints because my rent was super low. But first month came along, my electric bill came through and it was about $150, which for a commercial pad site that's not bad. Usually a little higher than that. Well, at that time the slot next to me was empty. So a couple of months go by, it's floating around 150, $200 a month for electric. That's cool. Then a barbershop moved in next door. My electric bill shot up to $450 to $500. It's because that site was wired into my meter.
I remember. Hey, you know that place cuts a good head of hair to this day.
Except it's a Farm Girls food bank now.
Yeah, now.
But,
They moved.
Fade Stop. Yeah, Fade Stop's
yeah.
dope. Moses is a good guy.
Yeah.
But so his solution, because he didn't want to spend it, would have cost him somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 to get it rewired. His solution for that was to knock $100 a month off my rent. That was to compensate me for paying their electric bill.
What the?
I feel like that's something you can like contact with like the Better Business Bureau or something like that.
It's got to be something. That's kind of fishy.
There probably is, and knowing what I know now, I probably would have fought it harder. But at the time, it was the best rent I could get in town. I was trying to get off the ground. So but there was several times that it hurt me a lot because because my rent got jacked up twice. It got jacked up when he took over paying the electric bill. Because the thing is I went along and I was negotiating for a new building. Okay, I was trying to get out of there, get away from all that nonsense. I was trying to buy a building. That deal fell through, but in the process, I had scheduled a cutoff date for my electric. So that cutoff date come and went. I wasn't worried about it. It was a day I was closed anyway, and I'm getting a call from the landlord. He's like, "Hey man, what's going on with the electric?" I'm like, "What does it matter? I'm not there." The barber was breathing down his neck because unbeknownst to me, he had an all bills paid agreement with the barber. So then he took over paying the electric, which again, it makes sense for him wanting to jack the rent up because during the summertime, especially if you're running, because whenever I was paying the electric bill for both slots, man, I was very frugal, man. That freaking electric stayed turned down or off. I'd kick the doors open, let the air circulate.
Your barbershop, you're doing it all day. That you're constantly using
that jacked it. But so during the summer, I had some $1,100 to $1,500 electric bills.
Jeez.
Jesus.
God damn.
It hurt. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Again, even with that, it hurt a lot. But my overall rent was the cheapest I could find in town. So.
Yeah, small business, that's not an easy thing to do. That's why I guess a lot of people don't do it.
There's a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of little crap that you got to learn. The taxes really hurt you. It's just like when I first opened, I was running as a DBA with my mom's business, which was a grooming shop next door. And between what she made and what I was making at the shop, we were paying monthly taxes. Okay, you have to make a certain amount in order to pay monthly taxes. Once my mom left and I was on my own, it was quarterly taxes. God, I would rather pay monthly taxes than quarterly, because every quarter you're looking at. I was paying on the low end $800, but most of the time it was up around $2,500 to $2,500
Jesus
in taxes.
Yeah, I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about just the acquisition of the shop in general, because I remember, if you're from Alvin and you grew up in Alvin since you're a little kid, there was a man by the name of Double Nickel Daddy.
Eddie was a cool
Eddie, what happened to that guy?
Somehow I don't know about this.
I know he actually passed away.
He did, and that's the reason why he moved away from stopped doing the shop. But Eddie actually opened that shop over on Johnson Street behind his house, metal shack.
I remember that little shop. I remember before he was in that location. I used to go to that shop, and man, I
got my PlayStation 2 games there.
What was
all the PlayStation 2 games.
What was the name of it?
Double Nickel Daddy.
Double Nickel Daddy. D&D.
D&D games.
When was this?
D&D
It might have been before I moved to Alvin, because I don't remember this at all.
What year?
Like 7th grade when we met.
Oh yeah, dude, it was before for sure.
It was a long time ago.
It was well before, and so if I can remember remember it correctly, he moved
There's a catch there.
Because he had a lounge, right, with all the games.
That was Frank.
Ah.
Okay.
What a strange technical error. But anyways, Double Nickel Daddies.
Okay, so Double Nickel Daddies was the guy that he opened it up behind his house, Johnson Street. He had this little metal shack. He used to go over there and get PlayStation games.
Oh yeah.
He tricked out my PlayStation 2, put lights in it. and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
he was tricking out systems before it was cool, dude. I'm telling you, this is like 2004
I knew about it a little bit before that, but
for me, like 2002-ish even.
I'm an old man compared to you, sir.
Like tricking out cosmetically, or doing that thing with like the original Xbox
Okay,
where people would like
Now,
hack them.
most of his was he could do the other mods, but he didn't, and that's a lot of what I ran into because I wanted to do that stuff. But up until just recently, it was a gray area as to whether it was legal or not, and now. Under the new laws, it's legal to modify your system. It's just illegal to have software that you don't own a physical copy of. So if you've got a modded Xbox 360 or whatever, and a whole bunch of games ripped out to the hard drive, that's completely legal as long as you own a physical copy.
Kind of like
Okay.
whenever you're trying to use an emulator on your on your PC, there's something called you have to actually get a PS2 BIOS from the system itself.
Yeah,
You cannot download it online, or it's
no,
illegal.
you have to rip it, because then it'd be like you're stealing it. That shows that you actually own the system. But you get into a slightly different area with the Nintendo, Super Nintendo stuff, because they've actually surpassed the copyright laws.
I've noticed that.
And
Okay.
unless, of course, the Super Nintendo Classic and the NES Classic throw a hitch in that. If the games are on those, since that was re-released, now it is illegal to have a ROM of those games. Whereas any game that they haven't reproduced, it has reached the end of the copyright. I think it's like 26 or
I was
28
gonna say
years.
25 years.
Yeah, something like
Unless
that.
you're Mickey Mouse.
Unless you're Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Well, if you're constantly making new media and stuff with the likeness, then you can But if it just stops, like the games.
It's called what's it
Common
called?
law.
Common law. Yeah. I always
So-
forget.
So Frank bought the shop from Eddie, okay? Eddie opened up the shop where I was located, okay? He had it for a very short time there before his, I want to say it was his
briefly
liver.
remember that guy.
I think it was his liver or something failed. Anyway, he had bad health problems, and he sold it to his nephew, which was Frank. And Frank took it over, and Frank's an awesome dude. I think he had some kind of health issue or something, but he had an issue with having hours posted and then not being there during the business hours.
Yeah.
And so he came and offered to sell me the business, citing that there was no money in the business anymore. Well, if you're not open, you can't make money.
Yeah.
So
True.
I literally, it was living a dream, man. You know, I had gone through a period in my life where I was at a deep low, and it was a lot of hard work, but man, it was a dream job.
Dude, that shit was definitely. That's why I wanted to have you on, man. You made video games like your life's work, man. That's fucking awesome, dude. You took something that you love and made a business out of it.
Trying to bring it back up. The storefront, unfortunately, the used game industry it's in a serious down spot because everything's becoming digital. The video game industry itself is pushing for an all digital medium. Because I mean, then they don't have to sell it to a middleman. You want a Sony game, you go to Sony, you buy the game, and
Sony.
Yeah,
It makes
subscription
sense, but eventually,
services.
you think there would be it would eventually a niche would assert itself in the industry that it's what is it retro.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, the heavy part of the retro industry right now is we're so far into it that most of the collectors, which is where you get most of your money in that in that realm, have
time,
gotten most of the games that they're trying to collect, and it's just little tidbitty things, you know, nothing major. But we're hitting and with cartridge-based games we're there, but with the digital medium like PlayStation 2 and up, it's so easy to get an ISO and get the BIOS or whatever you need and just run it on your PC.
But you know what though? It's too complicated. I couldn't figure out. So I started using the PS2 instead, and it's like a whole nother level of nostalgia. That's why I got those controllers from you the other day, man. I've been playing War of the Monsters.
Nice.
Fucking
nice.
Such a good game.
I'm actually like legitimately jealous.
Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was GameCube that I played that on, though.
Me and my little brother, when we played that, we didn't understand it was a fighting game, and so we would just play and then try to blow up like all the like helicopters and stuff like that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Like we made it a co-op game when it wasn't.
But as far as the PS2 and the BIOS situation, let me look into it. I'll see if I can figure it out for you. I think I can, and if I can't, I can also. They have these nifty little mod chips, which is part of what I like to do is the soldering and the electronics. Because in the end, when I opened the video game store, the biggest attractiveness to me, of course, I love video games, but
the money came from repairing consoles.
Repairing consoles. Well, I made most of my money off of selling games because I'm sure you know this. Most of my prices were cheaper than everybody else's, and that was because of the demographic I lived in. I had to adjust. But that's like I'm trying to do a repair shop now. I'm getting off the ground and starting to get because a lot of people didn't know that I was still around after I closed the shop.
Yeah, just put yourself out there a little bit more because you have a dedicated following within the people of Alvin. Like just go on Talk of Alvin and be like, hey guys, this and that.
I feel the love on Talk of Alvin.
Yeah, everyone's always like do this guy. Here's your number.
You got to get yourself a little van. And just have your face on it with a logo. Drive around, pick up people's
I don't want to
Xboxes.
scare children, man. But I'm doing a lot of that right now. Starting to get the word back out that I'm still in town and I'm still doing repairs. I've done several house calls recently. I fixed an Xbox One S. The lady couldn't get it to connect to the internet. She brought it to me. I put a new network card in it, got it running. Everything's running fine. And she brought it back to me. She's like, it doesn't work. I'm like, look, it's connected. So I'm going over to her apartment, and after a little bit of investigation, her cable modem was infested with roaches.
Ew.
Damn.
And so once she got a new cable modem, everything worked fine.
How does that even happen?
Dude,
for some reason, roaches love the inside of electronics because they're nice and warm and protected. Dark and yeah.
Okay, well, and a little known fact, and it's thankfully we moved away from this, but the Xbox 360s used to be one of the biggest offenders. Cockroaches communicate with each other on a low-level radio frequency. Well, the Xbox 360 used radio frequency to connect the controller to the system. So it was just like a broadcast beacon.
Oh my god, dude, remember Doug's console used to always be filled with fucking roaches at his house, and nothing. You wouldn't see roaches anywhere else.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I've already, in my new little repair shop that I'm running in right now, I've already had to roach bomb several times. I get PlayStation 4s, like, oh, my PlayStation 4 won't turn on. Pop the case, and they just pour out of it.
That's another reason why PC is better than consoles, man. Consoles attract roaches.
Well, the PC will too. It's just that it's typically a lot larger. It's not as compact, so they're not as much drawn to it. But in the end, it's really hard though. I mean, a lot of people suffer this. They're like, man, I'm clean. I clean up my house. I keep my house clean and everything. But they live in an apartment.
No, that doesn't matter if you keep your shit clean.
It doesn't matter. You could have the guy above you or to the left of you, and then the apartment sends somebody in to spray, and as soon as they do, they leave that apartment and go to the next convenient place. And so it's just... I had a lady ask me that. She was like, hey, man, you fixed my PlayStation. How do I keep roaches out? I was like, hun, if I knew that, I wouldn't be in a small little shop here. I'd be making millions of dollars.
I've seen that before where just someone was living in an apartment complex, and they tried to fix it, it just kept getting worse.
Dude, what if you just developed a tiny little insecticide, little tablet thing you could stick to the inside of the panels of a console and just install it?
Well, like I said, if I could come up with something, brother, I promise you.
Or you could do
That's a good fucking idea.
You could do a trap that emits that low level frequency. and then they just all go into it, and then it shuts the door on them.
The problem you run into with doing something like that is then you get into FCC stuff because you're broadcasting a frequency, and then it ties everything up, and it makes it cost more with different.
What do you think's better, the new Xbox or the new PS5?
That's a loaded question. I'm a PlayStation guy. I'm gonna preempt that with that, but
I'm a flip flopper.
I've started appreciating Xbox more over the last little bit because of the reverse compatibility. I mean, that's what originally got me to PlayStation was the reverse compatibility, and then they just basically took all that away. But from a gameplay standpoint, they took a lot of steps back with this generation, man. I don't understand it. Like one of the most common failure points on a controller is a charge port. On the PlayStation 4 controllers, they were really smart. They put a little bitty charge board in there, and so if you jack up the port, you can take that little bitty board out, chunk it to the side, slap a new board in, you don't have to replace anything else. They integrated the charge port onto the main board on the PS5 controllers, so now if you jack up the charge port, you have to either have good soldering skills or buy a new controller, which of course is their goal. The PlayStation 5, the design makes no sense to me.
The Seto Kaiba. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I've seen that meme.
Have you seen the deconstruction of it?
I have already been inside one.
Yeah, where the entire like 90% of it is just heat shield. Am I getting that right?
Both systems, a lot of because that's where you lose your efficiency. If you get too hot, you lose efficiency. My biggest complaint about the PS5 though is the power supply. Okay, one of the most common failure points on a gaming console or a computer for that matter is the power supply.
Mm-hmm. My PC blew up on me because of a power supply
issue. Well, in order to I can't tell you how many PlayStation 4 power supplies I've replaced. So many, okay? But that's no big deal because you pop the bottom of the case, you pull the screws, lift the power supply out, throw it to the side, drop the new one in, you're good. You have to have a little bit of knowledge about what you're doing, but it's not super complicated. With the PlayStation 5, you literally have to completely disassemble the system to get to the power supply. You have to take the motherboard out of the shell, everything. It's ridiculous.
That's impractical.
Well, again, though, you can see the progression. I mean, they progress to a point where they're like, oh, look, this is easy to repair. Oh, wait, people are repairing stuff. Let's get rid of that because we want them to go buy a new one.
It's kind of like what Apple's been doing with the iPhone, where every single generation they're making it more and more difficult. Where like this new, like the 12s are essentially like impossible to repair, like yourself.
Well, and that's just like, and
we're doing that with automobiles and everything.
Everything.
Planned obsolescence. Why? Yeah.
Well, and Apple's one of the major offenders because they got caught. I don't know if they, faced any ramifications behind it, but they were literally making it to where if you put an aftermarket screen in that wasn't an actual official Apple screen or something in it or any other part in it, it would brick the phone.
Yeah.
Look, guys, I'm sorry. I'm not made out of money, okay?
Right.
If I buy $1,000 phone, I need it to last a while, and if it breaks, I can only afford a couple of $100 to fix it. I can't just sling it to the side.
Those fucking phones are expensive now, dude. And I think I'm paying like $50 a month on my phone.
I think it's like 60 something on mine.
Terrible. So when did a phone become I guess you had phone bills, but now we have two phone bills.
Well, yeah, but phone used to not be a personal computer.
Yeah, right.
I'm a computer technician and everything else. I don't have a computer that's worth a crap. My phone's actually the most powerful computer that I have in my house.
Yeah, I mean the new iPhones have laser scanners in them.
Like I said, and the technology gets more and more advanced. But see, my problem is each generation of phone, one of the main things they upgrade is the camera. I don't use the freaking camera in my phone. I use it to talk to people and text message. Mm-hmm. Now I sound like an old guy.
I mean, I used to do photography, and like I like that it's nice, but like even I like rarely find time to really use it.
Hey, portrait mode is kind of nice.
It is. You can do some cool stuff. And that widescreen or like the
panoramic.
Oh yeah,
the wide angle.
I like that.
On the new one,
the fisheye lens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. almost.
I almost use that like every time I'm like taking a picture or something.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the pictures of this room I did with that.
Hell yeah. You know, one thing I did notice is like the cooling approaches that the two consoles actually take. Like the PS5, doesn't it just have a giant fan on the side?
I believe it's 2 fans actually.
They're just on the sides, and then they're covered by just a panel. So how does it even get airflow in that?
Well, you don't need much, and actually by restricting the air intake, you're actually increasing the cooling effect because
Really?
you're causing basically a pressurization. Okay, but the main thing that the PlayStation 5 has over the Xbox Series is it uses liquid metal instead of thermal compound. PlayStation
Explain that
liquid
a
metal
little bit.
has a higher cooling cooling coefficient. There we go. That's the right word. So it's more efficient in cooling. And the problem is you have to be very careful. If it leaks out off the processor, it shorts things. There's a little bit more that you have to do, but the PlayStation 5, last time I looked, I think it runs. I think it was 5% cooler than the Series.
Really?
I'm not even sure.
That the Series X actually pulls air from the bottom and brings it out the top.
Ejects the air through the top. Correct.
That's pretty cool. It's a little bit more complex of a system.
Ejecting the air out of the top is something they've been doing since the Xbox 360s.
Yeah.
I
had one of those.
They put the fan on the top.
Yeah, those are nice.
The only problem is a lot of people burn up their systems because they walk in and they throw their mail down on top of their Xbox and then don't move it before they start up the system, and it can't eject the heat.
I think I literally did that to like one of my old 360s. You ever seen the video like you can start up the new Xbox and put like a little I guess like a little ball, and the fan is so powerful, and because it's like combed, like an inward comb, it'll just sit there and float.
Really?
Like one of those old floating toys.
That's fucking cool.
The cooling has been one of the major aspects of the upgrade of the newest generation. As far as the processor and things, there have been changes, but it's not like a super duper upgrade. The other main upgrade is going to be that they went to solid state with everything, but again, Sony in their infinite wisdom, instead of making the solid state drive removable, hard soldered it onto the board. So if you're like is wont to do with the PlayStation 4, the hard drive goes out, I don't know, probably half to 65% of the time. I do a lot of hard drive replacements. Okay, well, if you manage, hopefully you're not going to manage to, but if you manage to kill the solid state drive in your PlayStation 5, bye-bye.
Yeah, didn't I always say it wrong. Marlon Morales, the new Spider-Man game?
Miles Morales.
I always say it wrong. Miles Morales.
They had it cause it
that
when
little
it went
bug?
when it was going into rest mode, it was bricking consoles.
Yeah,
Really?
you would go into rest mode, and there was like a chance. If I'm getting this right, you would go into rest mode from playing the game, and then there was like a percentage chance that when you turn it back on, it just bricked the whole hard drive.
Yep.
What?
Which is just unfixable. It just destroys the data basically.
I wish we could call companies out on that, man, because hard soldering when it wouldn't have taken much.
People do it on Reddit all the time.
Well, it wouldn't have taken much to just put a port and drop the and then make it a proprietary hard drive. Sony's good at making proprietary shit. We saw that all the way back as far as the beta. Okay, so make it a proprietary chip if you want to keep people from repairing it. That's fine. Of course, we'll eventually find a way around that as well. But it's just stupidity to hard solder the drive. So, again, another major failure point of a console, and make it to where basically if it fails, you've got a hunk of plastic.
It just seems to me that like consoles are getting closer and closer. Now they're almost like little pre-builds.
Oh, dude,
They're kind of just little pre-built little tiny PCs.
It very much is. Since the PlayStation 2, actually.
You can actually run Windows on the
Linux.
Linux on the PS2, right?
The PlayStation 2, for about 6 to 8 months, Sony released a PlayStation 2. It came in a brown box. It had a VGA adapter in it. It had a keyboard and a mouse. It came in pre-installed with a hard
Really?
drive, and it came with a flavor of Linux made specifically for the PlayStation. And it ran for about 6 to 8 months before Sony went, wait, that's open source. Crap, they can copy the games off the...
I didn't even know about that
You
at
can
all.
still find the Linux flavor floating around eBay for anywhere between $65 and $115.
I think I remember when I was doing like a virtual machine of some, like I was looking for a Linux operating system for it. I think I saw like Sony PlayStation something, and I just was wondering like, the hell is this?
Like I said, once you put an open source operating system on the PlayStation 2, you basically just make it so you can circumvent almost 99% of the copyright protection that are on discs is software based. Basically, it's in the firmware. So once you circumvent that, you can start copying games, rip games out, do whatever you want.
Hell yeah.
I do gotta say, what I do like about the PS5 is they have that resolution and performance mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause like me personally, like I'm not big on frame rate, so like performance mode is for me. Like when I play games on PC, I usually cap it at 60.
Yeah, I don't really care too much about frame rate either. As long as people aren't skipping around and clipping, I'm fine.
As long as the video's nice and smooth. Anybody who's bitching, anytime I meet somebody and they're like, I run this at this frames per second, I'm like, okay, you're an elitist jackass. Thank you. You can move on now.
I mean, your eyes can't actually see past 60, really.
30. I mean, 60. You get into an argument there, and you have people that swear they can tell the difference. Look, like I said, I don't give a crap. It could be 33 frames per second. As far as I care, I don't care. As long as it's got constant motion and it's not jagged and skippy, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like, have you ever heard Star Citizen? That game has been like development for like 10
Yes.
years, like
Okay,
300
yeah.
He just
million
started
dollar
playing
budget.
that game.
I started playing it, and I was playing with a couple of my friends, and they're like really just frame rate, like it's all they care about. And because it's like a game that is in a super alpha state, like it's just playable, and it's like
a little
25 to 30 frames per second. Like, just I'm sitting there enjoying because I was like, man, this game's
all you
interesting.
hear
I
is,
wanted to see it for like
"Ugh,
5
it's
years.
trash."
And they're just like, oh, I can't do this. It's 30 frames. Like this is trash. I can't do this. It's unplayable.
Like, I still enjoy 8-bit graphics. Like I
Yeah,
said,
me
I'm
too.
old school. I actually probably play my Switch more than anything else right now. It's convenient. It's something I can carry around. I can play it anywhere.
Onimusha Warlords remastered for the Switch.
They actually remastered it for the Switch.
Yeah, I have it on the Switch. Play it. It's amazing. I beat it in 2 days.
Dude, that was my only complaint about Onimusha when it originally released was that it was too darn short. I
Yeah.
love that game though, man.
Oh
It's
my
such a good game.
God, dude, it's so good. Imagine Resident Evil, like old school Resident Evil, with tank movement, but you're a fucking samurai slaying demons, and you absorb their souls and power up your weapons and go kill more demons.
Oh, I've heard about this
Dude,
game.
it's
I've never
legit.
seen
so
it before,
good.
but I've heard
I
about
have
it.
Onimusha 3 for my
PlayStation 2.
PS2.
Did they do a physical release of it, or is it strictly digital download?
I think it's digital download. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm
almost to a flaw anti-digital download.
I understand that.
I mean,
I understand why you would be.
I understand convenience,
Yeah.
okay? But, again, you're taking and you're putting all of the power back in their hands. And, I mean, okay, here.
So it's a philosophical principle that you have.
Okay, check this out, all right? Everybody likes Steam. Steam's a
Yeah, I
great
love
thing.
Steam.
It's very convenient.
You can actually-
Last year,
People can put their own games on Steam. They're
La-
a good creative platform. Or that platform.
Okay, here you go, though. Last year or year before, I don't remember. It was within the last 2 to 3 years. Steam or Activision lost their licensing rights to Transformers. If you had purchased any of the Transformers game on Steam
Oh, I hate
and
that
didn't
shit.
have them on your hard drive, they're gone.
Like the PT situation
Dude,
all over again.
that makes me mad because it reminds me of when I just recently bought Dragon Age Origins.
Great game.
Off of Steam. Very underrated game. One of the best stories to ever told.
Origins and Awakening were great. Dragon Age 2 was fucking garbage.
But I did beat it twice.
But Inquisition was like, okay, the first one they made, and then the second one it was like, hurry up and put something out. We're making money, quick. And so they put it out, and everybody went, fuck this shit.
They tried with Inquisition again.
Yeah.
I actually haven't played it yet, but I have heard
Inquisition,
good things.
you should. It's good.
Yeah, see, but when I like when I downloaded Dragon Age Origins off of Steam, it was the full version, so it comes with all the DLCs, right? Well, since EA stopped supporting Dragon Age Origins, the servers or something, I actually can't.
I've never touched the game myself.
I can play the game on Steam, but I can't download any of the DLCs. Like,
Garbage.
What?
That's
Yeah.
garbage.
So they sell it to me with like as I have all the here's the full version,
can't download
and
them.
then I can only play the vanilla version.
So you
That's
can't
shitty.
download the upgrades.
Yeah.
Why don't you go do a little modification and insert the DLC anyway?
I don't know how to do that, but we'll talk.
It's the beauty of a PC is you have a little bit of freedom for that.
Yeah, I love and I was looking on my PC. The majority of my games are like retro single player games. Like I have Blood Omen 2.
Nice.
Like you know what I mean? I got Legacy of Kain, Defiance.
Oh, dude. Blood Omen 1, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 1, fabulous.
Yes.
Then you had Soul Reaver, then you had Soul
Those
Reaver
are
2,
great,
Blood
dude.
Omen 2, and then Legacy of Kain Defiance. That's probably
Yes.
one of my favorite set of 5 games
You-
ever. The only thing
Kain did not give a shit about nothing.
the only thing that sucked about it is you saw a progression from 1 was the top down, and then 2 you started doing the over the shoulder. Or Soul Reaver, you started doing the over the shoulder. Soul Reaver 2 got better. Blood Omen 2 got better. And then it was like in Defiance, they went, you know what? You don't need to control your camera. Fuck
Fixed
you.
camera angles. Here you go.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck did you just do?
Dude, Blood Omen 2 is awesome, bro. All humans are food.
Yep.
It's like, I'm telling you, they don't make enough good vampire games. I know they're making another Vampire the
Legacy,
Masquerade.
yeah. But the new Blood Omen, or it's Bloodlines 2.
Bloodlines 2. See, I actually had the first one.
first
on my
one was
computer
alright.
as well. I like that game a lot. I like dancing in the club. It's fucking funny.
I had a problem with the first one because at the time when they released it, I was deeply entrenched in the actual tabletop role-playing of Vampire the Masquerade. And I was part of this group called the Camarilla.
Oh, that's really fucking badass.
It was for the live-action role-playing.
Yeah. That's cool.
They eventually got sued by White Wolf and had to shut down, but
Really?
yeah.
Damn.
But I had a character and all this. But like I said, that was during the time when I was playing that. So when Bloodlines came out and I took a look at it, it was like, it's okay, but it's very restrictive.
It is. It is.
But
a little
you
bit.
can't expect a complete open system with something with as many options as that.
But wow, that game is actually really good.
Yeah.
Kind of like playing a Dungeons and Dragons game. Like it's never going to be the same as
it's-
actually playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Correct. Which that's every Sunday.
Yeah.
So Bloodlines is pretty crazy though. The themes that get introduced in that game, the first one, are just insane. Like the first mission is like a haunted hotel. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Bring back memories, man.
And then the schizophrenic chick in the schoolgirl dress, and
Yeah.
she like kills herself in her own mind. Like, bro, it's a crazy game.
I remember when you first started playing it, you just kept telling me about it like every day.
Dude, it's
You're just
so
like,
good. Like it's definitely very dated, and the combat's bland, and the graphics are bland, but there's a charm. There's like a certain charm about it, bro. I don't know how to explain it. It's really
they
good.
actually had it was a very basic campaign builder in Bloodlines, so you could actually run a campaign with friends.
Really?
But it was very, very basic and had a lot of bugs. It was very disappointing.
I love that game. But
I gotta see, what is your opinion on the whole cyberpunk situation?
I blame the people entirely.
have you played it?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I followed, of course, I was following it, okay? And then they said they pushed it back, and I was like, okay, good. Because I do not mind pushing a game back, especially if it's citing,
quality.
Look, it's not ready yet. Then they pushed it back again, and everybody threw a freaking tantrum. And then they went to push it back again, and everybody's, no, release it. And so then they release it, and these same people that wanted them to release it so bad are going, man, it's so buggy, I can't believe they release it.
Now, that's something interesting about that is because Poland's really weird in how they do things. Like, there's a bunch of stuff going on. Like, the Polish government actually, like, threatened sanctions on the company if they didn't fix the game.
Really?
Because the Polish government put $12 million of their money into the game.
The other countries of the world are actually a lot more stifling and have a lot more to do with the video game production. PlayStation 2 game. We'll see about getting your emulator running because I don't think you want to spend roughly $600 on a game. But they produced a game by Atlas Studios, if you know who Atlas is.
Why does that sound so familiar?
It's called Rule of Rose.
Oh.
Okay. It is a fantastic game. The problem is it was banned in several countries around the
Is it
world.
a horror game?
And it was very restricted here in the United States, and that's because you have children doing very adult things in it.
I watched a Let's Play of that a long time ago.
Fantastic game, man.
You would like it.
But literally, when I've had 3 copies come through what was my game store. Okay, the first copy I paid, I want to say $65 for, because when I bought it, it was worth about $100. I wound up selling it for $225.
Wow.
The second copy that came in, I had somebody run in one night with a stack of PlayStation 2 games loose, throw it up on the counter and go, "Hey man, I need $20. Give me $20." And so I kind of,
holy shit.
I kind of leafed through them and was like, there's about $20 there. Here you go. So I give him $20. He leaves. I finish flipping through them, and there's a copy of Rule of Rose at the bottom of the stack, and I was just like, well, shit. I mean, because even loose,
Talk
I think
about return on investment.
I think I got 85 for it loose.
God damn.
Nice.
And now it's literally like a $600 game right now.
I never knew that about the game. I thought it was just some other horror game, and I watched it from this YouTube channel.
I have come across very few, and of course there's exceptions to every rule, but very few games that were made by Atlas Studios that weren't at least good in some aspect.
Now I remember walking in your shop and taking a look at the PS2 games, and you had it was a copy of Dot Hack Mutation or Infection. Which one of them?
Quarantine is the one that is the most expensive.
That thing, dude, on his shelf, it
think
was
you
like
showed it to me.
$108. Like just.
It's
on
actually
his
worth
shelf.
more than that now.
Phenomenal game. I
Well,
love
the
those games.
entire
I
Dot Hack
had 1
series.
through 4, and I had one of the GU games growing up.
Well, and they just re-released the GU stuff in a collection for the PlayStation 4.
That sounds amazing. I need to get on that.
I've always heard about Dot Hack, but I've never played it or seen it or anything.
It's based on an anime. Literally,
Yeah.
you got people that are logging into a game to do this, and then you get some people that start getting trapped in the game.
Yeah, Sword Art Online kind of
Is a rip-off.
They ripped it off.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a computer virus that pretty much traps your consciousness.
There's a
inside
name
the
for
game.
that genre, and I can't remember.
And then, but like what happens is actually Dot Hack Signs, the show is on Hulu now.
Nice.
But pretty much what happens is, like it's a crazy virus. They're all stuck in the game, but it's the virus. The whole game was built as like a experiment to collect emotional data and data from people's minds and consciousness to put together like an artificial intelligence, like the perfect artificial intelligence. And then the virus gets aware of it, and it's weird. The whole thing is very convoluted, but damn, it's so
still
good.
it's tacked together really well.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
I'm going to check it out.
But
It's an older shit. That's like early 2000s.
it is like 2002-ish. It's a good show, man. But yeah, I'll never forget playing the very first scene in the very first game when Orca gets data drained by the virus. You know what I'm talking about. You get the bracelet.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that. Oh my god. Yeah, I need to go back and hit those.
I'm gonna have to play those again now.
Yeah, me too. Do you have that? You still? I bet. God, Lou. I would love to take a look at your personal cream of the crop collection that you have.
Yeah,
I bet you.
I don't have much of anything, man.
Yeah, all your games. What happened to all your games? You still got all your merchandise and whatnot?
I sold a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things when you open a video game store, if you ever go about opening a video game store, you have to sit down and have a conversation with yourself. And you have to go, okay, do I want to collect games or do I want to make money?
Oh, yeah.
I had a lot of stuff that came through my shop that I was just like, man, I don't want to sell this.
Man.
But in the end, the bills were more important.
Hey, I will say, though, dude, anytime when I have just a random thought in my mind, like about a game I used to play, anytime I want just to, like what was it, Dark Watch?
Dark Watch.
I thought about Dark Watch. I said, hey, Lance, do you have Dark Watch? He's like, yeah. Let's see. Hey, Lance, do you have Obscure the Aftermath? Yeah, I got that. Yeah. Not the Aftermath, but you had the first one.
Yeah, the first one. Well, like I said, unfortunately, because of running out of money, I had another video game store just recently offer me a fairly decent, sizable amount of money, and so I've sold off most of my games.
Oh yeah, damn. So
I didn't want to, but it's one of those things where bills were piling up, credit card bills were piling up.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here. I'm pretty much most of what I'm doing right now is repairs, and that's my true passion anyway.
Yeah, you like tinkering with stuff, huh? Notice
All the time.
He comes in here, he's looking at the cameras and all this stuff.
I think you fixed my Xbox at one point.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Hey Lance, I don't want to call you out here on air or nothing, but I will say I had you fix some analog sticks on my Xbox 360 controllers, and they kind of funky again.
Well, do you use your controllers at all?
My wife does, honestly.
Okay.
Ever since I switched to PC, man, ain't no telling. My wife probably dropping them on the floor or whatever.
It's a moving part.
Yeah.
You're asking me to replace a moving part, and I can make it run. But the thing is, and here's the biggest problem. Okay, so I order analog. No. I'm giving this as insight.
Yeah.
I order analogs. Well, guess where they come from?
China.
And guess who makes them? The lowest bidder.
Yeah.
So I ordered these thinking they're going to be good analogs. Man, I went through so many different distributors because I'd order them. I'd be like, okay, I got a good price on these. Let's see how these work. And I'd fix them, and then somebody would come back, hey, man, it's doing it again. Well, not going to order from that guy anymore. Let's try this guy. But
damn.
It's so hard because, I mean, you've got different aspects. Like, I honestly, out of all my controllers on all my systems, have never had an analog wear out.
Really?
Personally. But I also am very gentle-handed with my controllers, and I have so many people, I don't understand why my controller broke, and I'm looking out the outside of this. I'm like, hey, you rage quit a few times, don't you? Yeah, man. Sometimes I get so mad and I throw my controller. I'm like,
A little bit of drywall on the handle.
a little chip, you know. And I've found Cheeto crumbs inside of controllers before.
Nice.
Inside it?
Inside it.
How do you get it inside?
Oh, no. Here you go. You guys familiar with the Nintendo 64?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a guy come in one time. He's like, my Nintendo 64 is not working. I said, okay, cool. And he's like, and it's making a rattling sound. I was like, so I take it, and I'm hearing this metallic rattling from it, and I'm going. So I pop it open, and once I get the top off, 2 jacks roll out of it.
Like the
you know,
toy?
bounce the little rubber ball, pick up the jack.
What?
I'm sitting here going, how did you get them in there? How did you get the jacks in there without taking the screws out of the system?
How do you even?
That's strange.
Oh, dude, you would not believe coins, buttons, any kind of disc-shaped object inside of slot load. I like drawer. I like the Xbox 360 because of the drawer load.
Yeah.
I hate slot load, man. So many times having to fix things because somebody shoves something in there. Usually a kiddo. Hey, my daddy puts his discs in here. I'm gonna put my disc in. You know, I mean it's.
I think that's what you fixed on my Xbox was the disc tray.
Yeah, I fix a lot of those.
Yeah. I think what happened was I think someone pulled on it as it was going in or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's probably sprung a gear in there. This is like the most common thing. Something, here's a gimme for you. If you got an Xbox 360 and you push the button and you hear the click and it doesn't shoot the disc tray out, it's because right in the front you have a little bitty pulley and a slightly larger pulley right up in the front, and there's a little rubber band that goes between those. That's what controls whether it goes in and out or not. Okay,
I've actually fixed one of those myself.
You put a rubber gasket inside of a hot machine that heats and cools and heats and cools. So the rubber expands,
It's gonna expand
and then
harden
it
back
won't
up.
eject.
Huh.
That's one of the most common issues with the Xbox 360.
I loved the Xbox 360 though, to be honest. I love putting in an Xbox 360 game on the Xbox One, and then you get the old school Xbox 360 menu again. It's just so nostalgic.
That's just I don't understand the thought process. Okay, PlayStation, the PlayStation 4, by and large, won that generation. By and large.
Yeah.
Beat out the Xbox One hands down.
Yeah.
So if I'm Sony, going into the next generation, I'm going, okay, we're out in front. What can we do to just kill it off? Take over the rest of it and not worry about it. Well, I would have looked back and gone, okay, well, Xbox One didn't have many exclusives, didn't do so hot. What was keeping them afloat? Reverse compatibility. Well, we're not going to do that. That's stupid. Nobody wants to play their old games.
I have an Xbox One at home, and yeah, the backwards compatibility is the shit.
Probably one of the primary reasons you kept your Xbox One.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're doing a lot of additional too with
also
Game
cheaper.
Pass. They put like the whole Banjo-Kazooie, all the rare stuff on there.
Yeah. They're still putting old school games on the Xbox One.
Yeah, because they bought Rare, so they put everything from Rare.
They've owned Rare for a minute.
Yeah.
But the reverse compatibility, look, okay, especially with gaming consoles going up in price. They're not going down in price. Every year, every new console, it goes up a little bit. Okay? So I want to buy the new PlayStation 5. Okay? Well, at least they give you the PS4 on it. I'll at least give them that, because the thing is I run out and spend $600, $700, $800 on a new console. I don't have money to go out and buy a $60 game too.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to sit back and play some of my old stuff for a little while I save money to go. I mean, it just makes sense to give us a couple of generations, man.
Throw us a bone.
But again, they don't give a shit. You're not supposed to fix your stuff, and you're supposed to buy all new every time a new console comes out.
Yeah, and I read somewhere where like to do backwards compatibility on the new systems, it's not that much work.
Now I will say that with PlayStation, the PlayStation 3 would probably give them an issue, because there was a big issue with the development of PlayStation 3 games because of the cell architecture. Okay, so if Sony went, look, we can give you a PlayStation 4, we can give you PlayStation 2, we can give you PlayStation 1. We're just not. We don't want to mess with doing PS3. It's going to be too big. Okay, fine. I'd be perfectly happy with that. You know, but Xbox, the series comes out and they go, we're going to support everything. We're going to do Xbox One. We're going to do Xbox 360. We're going to do original Xbox. Come on with it. And I'm going, dude, Microsoft's going to fuck around and wind up beating Sony down. The design of the Xbox Series system, as far as repairability goes, by and far better.
It's supposed to be like
actually
swappable, right?
Yeah, they made it
pieces.
so you could be able to upgrade it in the future. Like, so instead of them having to come out with a new edition of it, you can just buy this new component they have for it.
Which just makes sense, okay?
That's fucking.
As consoles,
I agree with that.
As consoles move closer and closer to being PCs, why not make them to where you can upgrade the system?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you give me a base model system and go, hey, this base system does, standard 1080. If you spend $150, we'll make the system $150 cheaper for what it is. Okay, so it's like, what is it, like $4.99, $5.99, whatever. So you make it $150 cheaper and go, okay, you can only play high definition. You spend the $150 and buy the graphics accelerator chip and put in it, and now you get 4K. Dude, I would be perfectly happy with that, because I don't even have I have one 4K TV. It's in my living room. Most of the time I play on a small monitor. So whatever.
I like that. That's a good.
Yeah,
little
I
idea.
think with like the next generations and starting from there, like with people, like PCs are becoming more common, or people are getting into it. What it's gonna be before it ends up being like what Stadia tried to be and being all cloud based, because that's a ways away.
Not
like,
as far as you think.
Yeah.
It's not as far as you think.
You got to fix the internet problem.
I don't think they're going to give us a choice, because you look at it, okay, with the Xbox Series S and the Series X, and the PlayStation 5 with the digital and the disc system. They literally sold out of everything, but the Series S and the digital PlayStation sold much faster than the disc-based ones, because they were significantly cheaper. I can feasibly see them when they release the second gen of the PlayStation 5 going, no disc space.
Oh no, we're definitely getting rid of physicals. That's for sure.
The physical copies, okay. Now streaming straight from the cloud.
Yeah.
The thing is, we're progressing. Look, they're starting to. You can get AT&T fiber in Alvin now.
Mm-hmm.
Of all places, I
Right.
never thought I'd get fiber in Alvin. As we progress further and farther and get to the point where just about everyone has internet, they're going to push for. I mean, because look, again, this is Sony. Okay, Sony goes, okay, so let me get this straight. They've got my system. I lease them the game for 6 months. At the end of that 6 months, the game rights come back to me. They no longer have it. If they want to lease it again, they have to pay me again. Gee, I wonder which way they're going to go.
I think
business wise, that's a pretty fucking smart way to do it.
I just think America, because like the internet infrastructure, I just think it. No matter how much you get fiber, you get all these things. I just feel like because of how things are set up physically, it's just never gonna be good enough internet. Like Japan has, where like they got a ping of like you get a ping of 5 in Japan, you have bad internet. I have really good internet.
Their internet.
Mine's like 180.
They rely a lot heavier on the internet over in Asian countries. It's just like cell phones. In like Korea, if you buy a cell phone, the iPhones aren't as popular there because they have an internalized battery. Generally speaking, in Korea, when you buy a cell phone, it comes with a charger and a secondary battery because they use their phones all the time. And the internet, again, like you said, is a lot faster over there. It has a lot to do with more logical infrastructure.
The physical.
But it also has to do with controlled content. Okay? I'm not going to say we're not controlled here in the U.S. We have fewer controls, which means that the internet pathways are a lot more clogged up with a lot more bullshit. Okay, you go over there where they go, nope, you can't go to that site, you can't go to that site, can't go to that site, can't go to that site, and you start opening up the data
Way
transfer.
faster.
Everything goes faster. So that I don't know. I mean, yes, the physical infrastructure in the United States isn't great, but shoot, man, like I said,
we should have the right to look at bullshit.
I don't disagree with you.
I don't disagree with that either.
But the problem is continually that your search engines and various other things control what comes to your screen.
Yeah.
You can go to Google and search for something, and then you can go over to Yahoo and search for the same thing, and you get two different result structures based on Google farming particular information and feeding you what they want you to see.
And the same goes for Facebook and whatnot. Like,
yeah.
If you look on a Facebook post, and the automatic, like, what comments that you see is gonna be quote unquote most relevant. So it's gonna have point of views based on what the algorithm has determined that you would prefer to see.
Go on your phone, go over to the internet, search for something, pop open Facebook and see if there's not an advertisement for what you just searched for.
Seriously.
Instagram, everything.
No, I have bought well, actually I haven't even, I've bought like 2, but I've downloaded like 20 like free guitar VSTs, the virtual sound like tone pretty much. So it's pretty much like instead of having like an amplifier with a head, I can just plug my guitar into my audio interface, and I can actually play like an electric guitar through my audio program. I've downloaded just like about a dozen of them, and then now those are the only ads that I get on Facebook.
Yep.
Like the
Because
only
you're spending
ads
money on it, so they're like, "Oh, we need to definitely get them now."
Keep it in the face so that we can get more money.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of working, man. Fuck. I'm a sucker for a good guitar tone.
I remember my first 9600 baud modem. Yes, you had to wait a week for stuff, but there was so much less bullshit.
Right.
And I think there was like a Joe Rogan podcast with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and they talked about this specific thing, and he had like this perfect analogy, like Neil deGrasse Tyson usually does, and he put it like this: he doesn't like the whole algorithm thing because it's like walking into a wine shop. In one situation, you walk in
into a wine shop.
Yeah, with this great voice. You walk in one situation, and the guy walks up to you and goes, "You probably want this," and you're like, maybe, you take it. You're probably gonna like it because it's based off what you come and buy before, but you remove the possibility in the other situation where you actually walk around and you're like,
look.
yeah, maybe I like this
human
one.
beings are always so completely sure of themselves 100% of the time that, yeah, dude, it's frustrating.
You know, it's one of those things where I remember being able to go to a computer and search something on Google wasn't around at this time, so like
Ask
Excite
Jeeves.
or Ask Jeeves or Yahoo, close my browser, walk away from that computer, and not having to worry about the next person that walks up, popping open it and looking at what I searched,
Right.
and having it autofill the tab. I mean, you know, thankfully when I was younger and did things like look at porn, you know, that was an issue. Since I don't really do that anymore, it's not a big deal. But I mean, I think about that, you know. So you go and you search something up, walk away from the computer, somebody else walks up to it, they get to see everything that you watched, everything you looked at. There's no privacy there anymore.
It's
This is
happened
why
to me
we clear
before.
histories.
It's like you literally have to clear your history and everything before you get up and walk away from a computer if you don't want anybody to know.
It's
what
like
you're
muscle
looking at.
memory.
I remember when I was a kid, my first PC. I remember like I had it and I didn't know about deleting history or anything. And my brother comes over one day and I walk in my room and he's just going through my whole internet history.
Yep.
It's nothing more embarrassing than someone going through your internet history.
Oh my lord.
So, bro, I see that you were watching The Donkey Show.
Oh lord. He
No.
opens it up, you just hear fucking Tijuana music.
I think like the whole problem like with all the things we're talking about with like video games, like it usually boils down to like the people at the top don't know anything about video games.
I would agree with you, and they listen to the small percentage of people, because I mean, if you like this game, that's entirely your prerogative. I think Fortnite is one of the most irritating and best games out there. You know why it's the best game out there? It's keeping all the 5-year-olds off the games that I like to play.
Right.
Good way of looking at it.
But I mean, it's you get the same crap. They hit like Fortnite. Okay, after Fortnite came out and went big, all of a sudden Call of Duty is doing the exact same thing, and Battlefield is doing the exact same thing, and it's
Every
all battle
game
royals.
has to have a battle pass now, and it's
Yeah.
fucking annoying.
Because if you like, because I listen to his gaming podcast, and they know a lot of people who've been in the room with these people, and that's how they talk. Like Nintendo is the absolute worst because the people at the top do not know anything about video games.
Nintendo has the worst internet infrastructure for their games.
Yeah, it's still
It's
like
terrible.
They just found out recently they're putting a new game out that's gonna have the new version. The previous version was a Windows 95, like system.
Well, Windows 95 was actually fairly, I mean,
But that's how
stable.
old it was. Their internet like servers
Yeah.
were running on 95. But they had a thing where
They never really depended on online gaming, though.
yeah, but
They've
the thing
always
is because they
appealed
don't
more to the younger kids.
they don't know anything about it.
They don't know how to handle it, and the thing is that's what's hurting them a lot, because so many people nowadays focus on online gaming. Well, the way that they handled Fortnite rollout on the Switch is atrocious.
I hear it's not.
I hate playing first-person shooters on the Switch. Shooters on the Switch is just awful.
Get you
because
a split pad Pro, and it'll get a lot better.
Especially if you hold on the sides.
The split pad Pro is thicker. The Joy-Cons are thicker, and they have actual honest to god analog sticks in
Nice.
them, programmable macro buttons on the trigger area.
It's way better.
Oh yeah, I
So-
play Doom with it. But,
Really?
No. Another example, Mario Party. Okay, I bought Mario Party with the thought, because I have a couple of friends that play Mario Party. It said online play. I was like, fucking A. I can link up and play Mario Party. Nope. When you link up and play Mario Party online play, all you get to play is the mini games. You don't get the board. You don't get to move. It's like, it's garbage. I'm
That is
just like,
garbage.
why did you even bother?
So there was like, I don't know who it was, but it was like a person was telling a story about they were called in as like a correspondent
Okay.
by the people at the head of Nintendo, and these guys sit down with them and they're like, okay, so we want for the Wii, we want to start doing like online play, and how do we set up an online infrastructure? And the person basically told them, just do what Xbox and PlayStation are doing. Like it's not that hard. And the guy the main dude pulls him aside and says, don't say the name of those consoles here. They don't know what you're talking about. They don't play these consoles. They don't understand what an Xbox or a PlayStation are.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just again more proof that they don't have a fucking clue. Okay,
Not one.
you guys are familiar with the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, the
Yeah.
little mini systems.
Yeah,
If Nintendo had any fucking brains in their head, they'd have put a freaking Wi-Fi card in there with an expandable memory slot and put a fucking digital store up so that you buy it with the
Yes.
preloaded games and go, you know what? There's this game that I want to play that's not on there. Pop an SD card in it, log on, pay $5, $10, $15, whatever for the game. Download it to your console and play what game you want. Dude, there would be they would have like sold even more than they sold.
Look, I'm still.
I would
fucking
own
mad.
one. I would literally own one if I could do that.
I'm still fucking mad that they canceled Nintendo Power.
That
I'm fucking mad about that.
You want
I used
some
to
Nintendo
love
Powers?
Nintendo Power.
I've got like a tub in my storage unit that's probably half full of Nintendo Powers.
Really?
I miss gaming magazines. I used to collect Game Informer.
Game Informer, PlayStation
Dude,
Magazine.
Game Informer used to be like a must-have for right next to the John, man. You just,
Seriously, Game Informer, you would actually learn about really
Yeah.
great upcoming
I
games
still have-
through fucking
I had
Game
a-
Informer.
Poster that I made. It was in my gaming room. I still have it somewhere in some storage. Where it was a poster board where I cut out pages of Game Informer and made like a collage. Like
Dope.
Halo ODST with the info was
Dope.
there.
Dope.
Like all this stuff.
again,
Everything's going digital, but would you argue that there's actually like it's a degradation of the culture itself? Because while we don't have things like Nintendo Power or anything like that, gaming companies don't give a fuck about us and all this and that, but you also have games being played in like stadiums, like
okay, well,
people
that's
watching.
my point in that. Things like what we're used to, Nintendo Power and stuff, have gone away. Okay, now most of the kids that are coming up in the same position that we used to be in, they go to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And they watch their guy, and they get their tips and tricks through YouTube. It's an evolution. It's just like me and my curmudgeon-y response earlier, where I was like, "Man, I'm showing that I'm old." It's a different evolution. Different age groups basically handle things in a different fashion.
Yeah.
That's
strange.
just like I said. Honestly, I could give less than a crap about online gaming. The only
I'm not gonna lie. I've been deep in some DayZ lately.
Yeah.
I love DayZ. It's such an amazing survival experience. It is a hard game to play.
younger demographic though.
Yeah.
Okay, me personally, if I want to do a multiplayer game, I'm fixing to call, hey bro, why don't you come over? We'll
Dude,
pop
I
some
miss
beers,
that
and
shit.
but they've almost completely eradicated couch co-op. It's
And
almost
that,
completely
I hate
gone.
that, dude. What some of the best times is playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
Mario Kart,
Halo 3 split screen.
Oh my god, dude.
Halo 3, Mario. Like I said, Mario Kart, dude. I remember, dude.
Fucking Gauntlet.
Yes,
Gauntlet Dark Legacy.
yes.
Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude.
freaking Diablo.
I just
Diablo
used to
3
love
was fantastic. I mean, Diablo 3 was a good game, but it was fantastic if you could get 2 or 3 other people with you.
Twisted Metal.
Hell yeah.
I think it's kind of sad because like the previous generation had arcades and all that stuff, and as we grew up, that kind of faded out.
I know about arcades.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant, I guess you got to experience a little bit more. I kind of like seen them a little bit as a kid, and like I know there's still some, but like
I mean, I'm surprised Chuck E. Cheese is still around, but if you go in there, it's a sad, miserable fucking place.
One of the worst experiences I ever had, walking up to the Street Fighter 2 machine, play Street Fighter 2 because that was one of my jams back in the day. Put my quarter up, so to hold my place in line.
mm-hmm.
So then the guy clears out. It's my turn, reaching up to grab the quarter and tipping the ashtray over and dumping the ash all down the front of me.
Oh.
No, damn.
It sucked.
I think it was sad because like when I was a kid, I was sad that we didn't really get to grow up with that, and then I think like kids to like the next generation is going to be kind of sad they don't have like what you used to have.
They're gonna be sad. They're gonna be like, why the hell would I want to play games with my friend on the same screen? He's on the couch next to me. What the hell is that?
Well, I think like
People don't even talk to, like, you go to a party or something and there's a motherfucker text messaging somebody from across the room. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think like worse than like losing couch co-op is a thing like what you had at your store. Like I remember when I would walk in there, you just had people looking around, people were hanging out, people were playing games. I think the last time I was there, where's that calamari? Where you roll the thing.
Oh yeah,
I remember
that was
watching
great.
someone play that for hours and just sitting in your shop, and it's like it's an atmosphere that like it's not going to be around anymore.
It's one of those things that I miss.
Yeah, the kids, man, the group, man. There was some kids that would just go to your shop just to hang out, man, every day. I know, man. Hey, I remember whenever there was next door, it was you just had a bunch of TVs just lying.
That was when Frank had it.
Oh, okay.
That was when Frank had it, and he had rented that second slot, and he was doing a cyber cafe kind of thing where you could go in there and play.
Just play.
The problem is it was more like a friends club, and so it really hurt him monetarily because
if you even try to go in there and hang out, everyone's like,
everybody's looking at you like you're crazy. But most of the people are in there are, hey, bro, why don't you come play? I'll let you in. I won't charge you, man.
Yeah, right.
You gotta. I thought about doing that, but I mean, I really wanted to do like an arcade setup and do a little. It's just wrong demographic.
Yeah. Right.
If I was like in Friendswood,
fucking Galveston,
or Houston,
dude. Oh my. Your fucking shop would have blown up in Galveston, I'll tell you that much, man. Galveston is the area for stuff like this.
I had people trying to get me to move to Angleton and Lake Jackson.
Angleton, Lake Jackson?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Okay,
Angleton
Angleton,
might be a
Lake
little bit better, but
it's a little too far from Houston for my taste.
I'm not a big fan of it, but Angleton, Lake Jackson. Okay, what you got to think about Lake Jackson specifically? You got all those plants, all that money, and there's only one game shop there.
Yeah, it's a GameStop. That's it.
Oh,
GameStop.
Yeah, yeah.
There is a retro shop there too. Children's Heaven.
Really?
Okay, but you walk into Children's Heaven, and a copy of Mario 64 is going to cost you $80.
Well, plus you had those fuckers Game and Skate right around the corner from.
Well, they're under new ownership.
For the 17th
I've got
time.
no problems with them. You know, the original owner didn't care for me because he saw me as competition, which I was. But my thing is, I hope they've gotten a better repair technician over there, because I've had quite a few things since I shut my official storefront where somebody came in, hey man, I'm having problems with this. They fixed it at Game and Skate, and I go in there and I'm like, the fuck, they did fix it.
I think the owner. It's the dude from Fine Balance.
Nate doesn't own the shop anymore.
Oh, they changed
Nate's
it again?
like two owners again.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that place has a revolving door on owners.
Yeah.
I remember I almost bought a half pipe from them. When they used to have that half pipe back there.
I actually liked it when Nate worked there, because he actually came over to my shop and was like, hey dude, what's up? I run this.
Dude, he's a cool guy, man. I've known him for a while.
He wasn't ready for a small business.
Yeah.
He just, because he's, when you run a small business, speaking of small business.
Never stops.
Excuse me a minute. Alternate Dimension Games.
Official.
What game? One second. I don't have a lot of the lives left. Hold on. No, sorry, boss. I don't have 09. Sorry. I don't have. I really don't have any of the lives available. I can tell you, because I did do a small amount of business. Give Player One Games and Friendswood a call. Yes, sir. All right.
Business.
Gotta handle it. I couldn't help him, so send him to somebody I know can.
Right. So damn. So I guess any plans to ever open the shop up again, or open another shop, or have you sold all of your inventory and you're just
vast majority of my
kind of washed your hands with it, or
I may open eventually. My focus at this point, I've still got hardware, and I'm still, like I said, I'm in the passion of repair. I want, because again,
dude, just boost up your online clientele, man.
I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get that boosted up. I've got to get a website built, because it's just like, okay, HDMI repair is something that I commonly do. Okay, you go online. In order for an HDMI port replacement online is usually $100 plus. I do it for between $45 and $65 because I think $100 is fucking ridiculous for what it takes to do that.
Yeah. No, you've always been really fair with your prices, and that's something that a lot of people do respect about you and within the business. Because we actually have something to compare it to, which would be Gameskate, and they've always fucking castrated motherfuckers.
Or like GameStop
trades. Yeah.
At one point, before I had to shut my shop, I knew the guy they had working on systems. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, well, shit, man.
But everybody gets better. I mean, like I said, I have full hopes that like I said, honestly, if I could go to Game and Skate and be like, look, guys, I'm not going to get in your business. You handle the games, get everybody their business and everything. Let me handle the repairs. And if they would do that,
no, what's stopping you? They seem like it's like an older couple, huh?
I'm cutting in the business. If they're actually offering repairs,
yeah,
then that is still a viable source of income for them. They're not going to give from a business standpoint. Why would you?
Yeah, if they had the ability to do it. Doesn't seem like they know too much.
I don't know.
I've
I would say about the
store,
ability to do it, but if they're willing to do, I mean, look, man, I hate to say it. When it comes to repairs, there is a lot of crap that you can do to quote unquote repair something.
Jury rig
it. Yes, that whatever, and it'll last for a couple of months, and then it's gonna break again. If I can't fix it permanently, or if I don't think it'll stay permanent, I'm going to tell you straight up, number one. And number two, a lot of times I'll be like, look, dude, I could fix this. It's going to cost you about this much with the time and everything. Honestly, though, you're going to wind up buying a new console anyway. I mean, to be straight, it's like going to a freaking mechanic. It's like going to a mechanic who fucking pours sawdust in your transmission to get you down the road. I mean, come on.
God damn, man. Well, hey, dude, I just want to thank you for coming by, man. It's been a good time.
Yeah.
Told you, man, it flows after a while. It's just like having a normal conversation, man.
I don't know. You haven't gotten the feedback on your show yet. You might. Hey, don't bring that boring ass fucker around anymore.
Yeah, quit talking about video games. Go back to music.
Go back to music. That's it.
I do love talking about music, but man, I was just trying to make something where have anyone fucking interesting to talk to on, man.
That's what I like about this.
Would like to hear what you had to say, as far as being a small business owner and following your dreams and doing something within a niche industry.
If you want to have a life, don't open a small business. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. Because that again, that was Nate's problem. He thought he was going to open a business, make all this money, and then be able to do his partying and everything. No. You work 8 days a week when you run a small business. It's so hard to find people to work for you that you can trust. Because this is your livelihood. You got so many kids, especially in the video game industry. You got kids that are coming in and they're going, I want to work at a video game store. I'm going to sit and play video games all day. It's like, no.
Hey, I was one of those kids at one point in time. I was like, hey, Lance, you hiring?
I never had. I hired people and they would fuck me around, and I hired people and they would fuck me around.
Hey man, you had a couple solid fucking teammates in there though. I remember.
Kevin was really awesome. Joseph was great at the beginning.
Hey, rest in peace, Chuck.
Chuck was a badass motherfucker.
Great fucking dude, man. Chuck was a badass dude. He was so funny, dude. The funniest fucking dude ever, man.
The only complaint I had about him was he could not vape with restraint. If he was vaping, the whole shop was clouded out.
I think, I remember that guy. I seen him vaping in
Big
there.
dude.
Yeah.
I think we talked about vaping, but that's when I was working at a shop. Well,
how's Fuzzy doing?
Fuzzy's still rocking, man. I have a pack of 8.
Hell yeah.
They're not all pugs much to my sadness, but I got 3 pit bulls, 2 Skye Terriers, a pug, a Chihuahua, and a yellow lab.
Shit. Hell yeah. I have a Shih Tzu and a Jack Russell.
Oh, that was the pug that was at the store.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. I met him.
That's Mr. Fuzzy Wumpkins.
Fuzzy Wumpkins.
Well, where since you're still in business and everything, where can people find you?
I've got a small repair shop set up in Alvin. I'm doing by appointment. They can contact me. My phone number is the same as when I was open. I kept the same phone number. One of the best ways to get a hold of me is hit me up on Facebook at Alternate Dimension Games, because that's guaranteed going to come to me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, because I'm helping my wife run her business now, so dog grooming, a lot of times it's too loud. I don't hear the phone, but if it comes to my Facebook, I can get that.
100% of the time. I will say 100% of the time I message this man. He's got something for me. Swear to God.
I try. Hell, I fixed a tape deck earlier today.
Yeah? So, yeah, how was that?
It was what I expected. He was like, when you push the buttons, it doesn't spin the little things inside. He brought me that and a CD changer, and both of them. Again, same situation with the Xbox 360 and the pulley in front.
The little rubber
bands had disintegrated. It had most likely been stored someplace hot.
Okay.
And so I got those fixed, and I'm fixing a TV for the same guy. He broke off a AV cable in his yellow port.
Nice. Well, man, dude, thank you so much for coming by. I'd like to have you on again, man. Talk about some fucking games, dude.
Whatever, man. I don't mind. I had fun. Shit.
You can come back on a year whenever Cyberpunk's close to being playable.
Yeah.
We can talk about it.
In a year, you're very optimistic.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually really enjoy that fucking game, dude. That game is great, dude. The story and like a lot of the ideas that are presented in the game. If you've ever seen like the show Altered Carbon,
I love that show.
Dude, that fucking game could be in that universe.
I had people that bitched about No Man's Sky. Okay,
I loved it when it came out.
When it came out, I still loved the crap out of it.
Me
now,
too.
granted, unfortunately, now I still like it, but it's almost gotten too complicated now.
I think, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I prefer the old version in a weird way.
I prefer it because it was simple. It got a little repetitive, unfortunately.
You know, 65 Days of Static. They're the band that did all the music for No Man's Sky. They're a fucking awesome band, dude. You should check out. They're instrumental post-rock band, kind of like Explosions in the Sky.
Okay.
If you ever heard of them. But
I have.
Yeah, dude, 65 Days of Static is really sick. But hey, I was going to ask you also, do you happen to have a copy of like either of the Drakengard's for the PS2?
I haven't. I know. I don't even have to look. I haven't had a copy of Drakengard in probably 2 years.
I probably bought it from you too.
Drakengard's one that's hard to find too.
Damn, so now they're one of them, huh?
Drakengard. How much?
Even I like the second one too, man. Either one of them, I love.
My thing is I'm trying to remember if it's one of those that went up and got ridiculous in price.
Well, because I know that what is it? Nier Automata is like which I didn't care for it, dude. I'm sorry. Everyone, that's one of those games everyone said I was gonna love, and I thought I was gonna love. I was not impressed.
What didn't impress you, the story or the combat?
Just the combat, I think. I couldn't even I got past the first boss, and it was just like so. The cutscenes took forever, and the boss fight wasn't very. I just wasn't impressed, man. I don't know, man.
Both Drakenguards are up close to $100 now.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's talk about those PS2 ROMs after this, huh?
Well, I've got plenty of PS2s that we can pull BIOS off of if we need to.
Dude, that music to my ears, man.
I think I even have a PS2 somewhere. I tried to sell to you one time, and you were like, "I'll give you $15 for it."
The problem that I was running
I was
into,
selling them for $35, man.
Yeah, I was like, I'll hang on to it. Maybe I'll play it.
It's worth keeping. It's just one of those things where, generally speaking, a PS2 nowadays goes for about $50. I just couldn't sell them in Alvin for $50. So I brought the price down to around $35-$40, and then they started selling, and that's where I had to sell.
I'm kind of glad I played Jax 3 after that and really enjoyed it.
I love that game.
Jack's good game.
Hey, so the problem that I ran into is actually I have the emulator PCSX2, You actually got to get the PS2 BIOS off of the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
But problem I was running into is like you put the BIOS dumper on a USB card,
Mm-hmm.
you put the USB into the PS2. But what I was seeing though is that the PS2 actually has to have, it's got to be a modded PS2, anyways, to be able to even access those files.
Usually.
So how would I even go about getting the BIOS off the PS2 and putting it in my computer if I just have a straight up vanilla PS2?
So you talk to the guy that has been looking at ordering a chip to chip out a PS2, and when he's done chipping it out, he can possibly get you that BIOS.
Man, I can't wait to talk to that guy, man. All right, well, thank you so much. About hitting that hour and a half mark. Anything else you want to say to the good denizens of our audience?
I appreciate y'all having me. It's been a great, man, getting to chit chat about gaming.
Yeah,
always
dude.
love it
all day.
Yeah, thanks
I love
for
it,
coming
man.
on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This has been episode
Podcast.
4.
You almost forgot, didn't you?
What
Number it was?
No, I didn't forget. It's 4. Yeah. Thank you. Cut.